All right, welcome back to Phase2 podcast. Here today in studio is, well, actually, my brother's first friend in Korea.
First friend in Korea.
And one of our longest friends, best friends.
15 years and going strong.
Dana, say hello to all of our listeners out there.
Hi, guys.
That was great.
That was good. All right, cut. We're good.
Okay.
No, Dana, seriously, thank you for coming on and giving us some of your time. I mean, like, you're the first girl we're having on the show today.
Hopefully not the last. Hopefully I don't ruin it for everyone else.
Yeah, it's been, it's great to be the first in anything.
Right.
Like to break the
Mold.
To break the barrier, right?
Oh.
Like the
gonna
gender.
go with mold.
What do we call this? A glass ceiling? Not really. It wasn't like by design, but
The glass ceiling?
but you're like Sojourner Truth or Susan B. Anthony.
Breaking the 4-minute mile.
Breaking, barriers.
Right.
Breaking barriers.
Anything to add on breaking barriers?
Kamala Harris.
Oh, there you go. You are the Kamala Harris of our podcast.
Biracial.
You go, girl.
There you
Right?
go.
Go, girl.
There we go.
Doing it for the people.
And we are. It's like, dude, we're running out of happy friends. So like,
Right.
you're probably the last one in our quiver.
Right.
I don't know if I know any more happies.
Last, maybe not, but honestly, like, one of the greatest things about coming here was that we found out that there were more of us out there. We didn't know.
We were an endangered species where we
were.
were from, and then we came to Korea, and then at Korean school you meet tons of happies. Right. Dana, did you have other happy friends besides that weren't family growing up?
Not really.
You're always kind of looking for. You're like the tiger that grows up in the zoo, and you're like, I bet there's more tigers out there somewhere. But the next cage over, it's like a bunch of monkeys or elephants, and you're like, those aren't my family. We can be friends. But I kind of want to like find where's the other tigers.
No, I saw them at Korean church and they wanted
Happies.
to do, but they wanted to hang out and do homework and study on the weekends. And I was like, no,
the more
thank
studious types.
you. Yeah.
More serious. It's the difference between wild tigers and caged tigers.
Yeah.
So
And studious tigers.
yes.
So
No,
Dana
thank
was
you.
more like the tiger that was captured from the wild and brought into where the studious tigers were doing homework. Is that what we're saying?
And then I escaped.
And definitely, I know Dana from school. Actually, we met in school, and I know Dana wasn't having that homework bullshit.
Right.
She was not. She was out. Just your energy. I'm trying to imagine you as a girl. I think that you were out just playing like frenetic energy, like jumping rope.
Yeah, I did that.
And doing like. I feel like you would have been an athlete.
Yeah.
Growing up.
I have an older brother, so I was pretty much doing everything that he was doing. And then that was, of course, dangerous because
Like skateboarding and stuff like that.
ice hockey.
Okay.
So puck goes to the face, and mom's like, "You're figure skating from now on." So
And you figure skated?
I did after the ice hockey.
God.
I was the only girl with the guys.
No, I think that's us. Like our tiger mom, the immigrant mom syndrome, definitely wanted us to study. She would do math and stuff, and me and Eric would always be trying to sneak out the window to go climb trees or whatever.
So we don't want to like cut too much into what we're like going to talk about later.
Okay.
Let's save some of this stuff for later. Like, what are you up to now? What's going on in your life now? Because like I know that you've always been into like a bunch of interesting stuff. You've been like importing stuff, like doing yoga, vegan cooking, all this. What is your new project now?
Always got
My new project. I guess I'm busy with like raw veganism. And especially now during the Corona period, I'm trying to stay on top of immunity, my immune system, and try to keep everyone safe around me.
Because I know your house, which is newly remodeled, like it looks like a venue for like a cooking show. It's super fucking dope. So like, are you filming stuff there, or are you like who are you cooking for besides us?
Just just personal. Just personal
just
stuff.
personal sex videos.
No, just personal cooking things that I would never upload.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, but I've seen some of the stuff on Instagram, like just the stuff you made. And today you made these vegan like cookie ball rolly
little
things,
energy
and they are
balls.
so freaking good. So you're super talented at that. And I've seen some of your stuff on Instagram. It looks great.
Well, thank you. It's locked down to the masses, though. I'm not trying to be an influencer.
Not trying to like be in a factory
Just
making cookie
basic.
balls all day.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, but you
Got it.
should. These balls are so fucking good.
We need to mechanize this process.
Can I get a testimonial?
Wow. If these were in the stores, I'd be buying them for sure.
No, but you've always had like an interest in food, and you've been cooking. I remember even when like back in the day when we first came here, you were always bringing like cheese and like all this yummy stuff down to our house to cook and everything. And it's like now obviously it's culminated in this. It's like you're making amazing food.
When I first came to Korea, people didn't really understand why I didn't want to have meat floating like in my.
I didn't get it. Dana,
She was the first vegan that you ever met.
I
right?
never knew that was a word in 2005. I was like, what? So, okay, so you eat vegetables and like eggs and stuff. And you're like, no, it's different. It's deeper. And I was like, honestly, because that was like the very beginning of our friendship. I thought you were crazy on a lot of different ways.
Right.
But now, 15 years later, me and Eric did a whole year vegan. And so
And people thought you guys were crazy for doing that,
and people
right?
still
In
think
Korea.
we're crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you're always doing stuff way before you're on the avant-garde trendsetter. You're doing stuff before it kind of becomes a trend. Like veganism now, it's like everyone's on their Instagram doing vegan. You're almost basic if you're a vegan, right?
Right, yeah, that's true.
But you were doing it when you were just crazy, right? In 2005, when you were doing it, people were saying you're crazy, and now you look on Instagram, all these influencers are like, of course she's a vegan, basic bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's totally how it is.
So I talked to Dana earlier, and a lot of your causes are stuff that I was never thinking about, and then now they become my causes. I called her the canary in the coal mine because she is more sensitive to she was more interested in global warming before I ever even thought it was a deal, and like veganism, diet, like self-help, all that kind of stuff. So that's why we want to know what you're into, because we'll probably be doing it 15 years later.
Well, you guys are taken to the next level already. I mean, those falafel balls, unreal.
No, but like the thing is where's all this stuff coming from? Because honestly, when we met you, like a lot of things that you were talking about that time, like it took a while for it to sink into our thick heads, or definitely mine, because I was like, with vegan, like you're talking about like exploring all these things that like I didn't really understand. I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool for Dana, not for me, obviously, but like I respect it. I don't understand it, but I respect it. And then now, like a lot of things that you were talking about back then are things that like, me and my brother have taken like deep dives on, going into the like global warming, like mental health, like physical health, like diet, like all this stuff. And like you were so ahead of the game with all this stuff. It's, even in the businesses that you've like ventured into, you've kind of always had this stuff in mind with your business ventures too. So it's,
yeah, they're not designed to make money. They're designed because they're a good idea first, and then the business aspect of obviously making money off it.
Yeah. So where does all this?
Yeah, like a lot of your stuff, like you becoming like a certified to do yoga and teach yoga and certified to do this vegan cooking and all this kind of stuff.
Where does it come from?
Yeah, where does it come from?
I guess the need to evolve and just like be better. Back in the day, I was importing the yogi teas, and I felt like in order to really understand like the principle of the yogis, I should be a little bit more evolved with the yoga too. So that's when I started to do the
That's when you went to
courses.
India? That's when...
No, it was actually Ron Kotwijk. He's actually Dutch, and he is like the supreme yoga of the supreme yogi in Korea, and he's in Yeouido. So he is still giving the intensive courses.
So you felt like, that's also one of the things that like me and Dan were talking about. It's like you've always seemed to have like this thirst for knowledge too. Like you say, like improve yourself, better yourself, like search for something else that was out there. And most people will get to a certain age, like, you know what, I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah,
I don't need to like change because
that's me right now.
Because I'm good, right? But like you've always like found a way to like kind of push the envelope, search for something else to kind of keep evolving, which is like super dope, because that seems a very common thing where everyone's like posting and I'm looking for the truth and whatever. But that's been you before Instagram was even a thing.
Before memes, Dana was already thinking these thoughts. Now it's like you see the memes and then you see all the girls repost. It's like Dana was already thinking these things back when it wasn't cool. Like when you were just crazy. I'm joking, but
That's interesting because where does this stuff come from? Because I don't think it's, it wasn't stuff that we were exposed to when we were younger. So meeting you, we were like, what? Wait, what?
You guys grew up as athletes, and what were you told? That you need protein, and where does protein come from? Like they're not telling you about soybeans, right?
No, they're not.
They're not really pitching that to you.
No.
So there's a lot of like industry pushing that towards you, and just like a lot of people just doing old school things, what they know.
Does that come kind of like from your mom? Does your mom kind of tell you to question stuff? Because our mom was like, don't question, just do what the fuck I say.
Right.
So is your mom kind of like...
Mom has played a really big role.
Your mom's super awesome. I love your mom, and she's like one of the coolest ladies. So I'm just wondering, is that kind of part of it?
Yeah, she used to make everything fresh, and apparently when I was a kid, I didn't like mushrooms. So what she would do is she would just grind it up in something and throw it in. And now I love mushrooms. Same with like making fresh juice every morning. She told me a story where I went to a birthday party and someone gave me high C and I started crying because I wasn't used to that poison.
That sugar. Yeah.
So I mean, that's where I'm today. I'm used to having natural foods in my body, and I feel like whenever I don't feel well, I have to think about why. What am I eating? What am I drinking? Like, what is the cause of disease? Dad's a doctor, so when I was younger, I got to visit people in the hospital. Seeing people being sick, it makes you think about your own health and your own mortality.
So would you say, like, growing up, like, your mom and your dad and, like, the fields that they were in and how they raised you with the natural foods, and then also your dad being a doctor, would those be, like, maybe some of the biggest influences that you had that kind of, like, helped propel you to have this mentality or this mindset? Because in the people, I mean, or maybe, like, did all your friends have this, like, a similar mindset? Or were you always kind of unique in that way?
I think unique. And I remember sometimes being excited for a birthday party because then we would have sodas, right? Because that wasn't allowed in our house. So
It wasn't allowed in our house either.
Oh, okay.
Probably for different reasons.
Right.
Mom is like, it's more expensive than water.
Right. This tap water's free.
Not necessarily a health issue in our house.
Right.
But I mean, we came out the same way, right?
Similar, yeah.
Do you drink a lot of soda these days?
I don't. I went through a phase when I went to college, and because we were never able to eat it, I went through a whole fast food, like all the stuff that I couldn't eat when I was in my mom's house.
Right.
I was like soda,
Didn't everybody, though?
Mountain Dew, Slurpees, and then after I got sick of it,
Right.
and then I
only
don't
so much
look
pizza
for
you
it.
can eat.
Yeah, I don't look for ice cream. I don't look for McDonald's. None of that.
Yeah, there's no cravings for that kind of stuff. And obviously, like, in hindsight, obviously thankful because we never had a taste for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because, like, there's a lot of people that just can't say no. Like, they need it.
Like, I need fruit at night. Like, that's something yummy to snack on versus like a bag of chips.
So kind of being on the forefront of this, and this is how you live. And now Korea is just opening up. Now there's some vegan restaurants and stuff. First, two-part question: A, how did you survive before? And B, where do you think we're at, like, in Korea? You know, I know there's some cool places near Itaewon, but it's not.
Plant.
Plant's great.
Plug.
They do some good stuff.
Love you, Mipa.
And like kombucha, you were the first to tell me about all that and stuff. But I don't think you can get this if you go out into the country. I don't think you can get all this stuff. People aren't hip to it yet. So, A, how did you survive before? And B, where do you think, are we going in a good direction? What do we need to do?
First question, because there was so little, like, there really weren't any vegetarian restaurants back then. I mean, that was really vegetarian, right? Like, you could find some side dishes here and there and, like, put a bibimbap together, whatever. But,
Temple stay.
yeah. But that's why I started to go to Matthew Kenny Culinary Institute in the States.
I remember that. LA, right?
Yeah, in
Yep,
LA.
I remember that.
So I kept attending, like, cooking schools or, raw vegan culinary schools so that I could make something that wasn't just basic, because you want to enjoy what you're eating too.
Yeah.
Even though you're eating for your health, it should still taste good and be fun from time to time.
Yeah, because I think you were one of the first people I ever saw that did meal prep. Like that, like, had like boxes and stuff that was already, I'd never really seen that. I mean, other than like taking a lunch to school when I was little, like that's what I thought meal prep meant. Like, oh, my mom made me lunch, But then we would go places and then you take out Tupperware containers or like glass containers with,
You guys
like,
remember all this?
with like like whatever you were making at home. We're like, what is that over there? And then you're like, oh, this is some stuff I made at home. We're like, because then we go to restaurants and you'd be like, oh, I'll have this, but then take this out of this. And you're very like detailed about what you wanted in the food or what you could eat. And I was like, man, like, this seems like a lot of work. But then obviously now, like,
Pays off.
yeah, like, thinking that we do the same, we do similar stuff too. We'll look at the stuff and like, oh, is there beef in this? Is there pork in this or whatever? Now we're more sensitive to it, whereas before I never even looked.
But at restaurants, you really had to say that you were allergic and you were going to die, and that they would have to, foot the bill.
And then be like, okay, so you just want eggs then? No,
Right, or
no
else-
eggs either. Take the eggs out too.
Or else they'd just be like, oh, it's just a little bit of, like, sogogi, it's okay, you won't die. And you're like, that's not the point.
I remember so many times we'd go and you tell the people that you're a vegetarian and they'd be like, wait,
Judgy.
what? So you only eat beef? Like, they didn't understand, right?
Yeah.
But if you told them you have an allergy, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but if you just say you're doing it by choice,
right.
they might even like be
Right.
like, how is someone your size going to survive? Like, you know,
Yeah.
without, they
That's
give
why
you
you
a whole
look
lecture.
so weak and malnourished. Yeah, no, that's happened.
Like, what do you think? Like based like to his second question, like, is Korea going in a
forgot
healthy
about
way?
that one.
Yeah, thank you.
Korea's doing great. I think just recently I saw like a raw vegan culinary school going up online.
Really?
Wow.
Plant, once again, like that's one of my favorite places to go eat. And it's nice. It's great to be self-sufficient and cook something in your own kitchen, but it's so nice to just go somewhere and
Yes, because it does take time to get all that stuff.
I think one of the things that I appreciate about places like Plant is that you're not going there to get good vegan food.
It's just good
It's
food.
just good food.
Yeah.
Period,
And like
yeah.
that, I think will be like
100%.
the telling part where people are like, oh, is it vegan? Because like sometimes you go to places and it's really not that good, but you're like, it's healthy for me, so I understand the price.
Yeah,
But you can also go to regular restaurants, right? And they could also not be good.
Right.
But when people think of vegan food, they think, oh, you're taking out so much.
The taste.
Like, what is left? Yeah.
They're like, it's definitely not going to taste good, and it's expensive. No, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I think that's what I've noticed in the States in recent years is like, especially us being from Seattle, there's restaurants now in the States, and of course they have access to better ingredients and more variety of stuff, but a lot of the vegan restaurants are just period the best restaurants.
Right.
Like, and it's changing people's ideas, whereas before it was like blah blah. Whereas a lot of places like Indian restaurants, a lot of the stuff's vegan anyways, and you just never thought of it as vegan. It was just like lentil curry or whatever, and it was already vegan. It was already delicious. It was already awesome. But as soon as you tell someone it's vegan, they might be like, oh, well, then it's not going to taste as good. There's like a relationship where people in their head they associate it with not good. Like
you think about a vegetarian snack, you think about like a rice cracker or something that's like dry and just like zero taste, and you're like, oh, I'll eat it because it's healthy, but there's just no taste. Like shoot me in the face.
But it's like a lot of the good things we like anyways is already vegan, right? Like Coca-Cola, I would assume is vegan. Is it not? Okay. Let's not get into that. What about potato chips? Potato chips are French fries.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff we already enjoy are tasty, but we don't consider them vegan just because we associate vegan with being less than
Like
good.
I think like Pringles and I think Lay's potato chips are vegan. I think, are they not?
I feel like for the most part.
I think sometimes for the flavored ones, they'll put like there's maybe some milk particles.
I mean, even with wine, right? Like there's fish in some, and like
they
who
use
knows?
eggs to extract the sulfites. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, we're about to our 15-minute marker here.
Are we going with my game or Eric's game?
Dive in.
Okay. So first of all, I wanted to do a game, and I don't know how I'd do this, but my original idea I was talking to Eric was because we all have immigrant moms, and I wanted to do a thing where we could call our moms and just ask them what they thought about certain things. Because I know my mom is so disconnected from what's going on. Like if I said, like, for instance, Mom, who's Kim Kardashian, and she would probably, I don't know what she would say. I know she doesn't know who Kim Kardashian is, or I assume she doesn't. But I think whatever she said would be super funny and hilarious.
Right.
But I know your mom's like way more hip and cool. So, and it'd be tough to do that. So what I did, we are all polyglottinous. We all speak many languages or fragments.
Polyglutinous? What did you say? I don't do gluten.
We all speak fragments at least of many different languages. Obviously, we're all most comfortable in English. So I just prepared a short quiz just about language because we all met. Or not, you and me didn't meet there, but we all went to Yonsei Language School to learn Korean.
KLI, baby.
KLI. Shout out to the Toksuris out there. Mm-hmm. The Eagles. So
that was the first question on the test.
So Dana, first of all, how many languages do you speak?
Fluently, one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. But how many?
I'm not even sure of
Can you
that.
piece together and survive in?
3.
3. So English, Korean,
and Dutch.
Okay. Eric.
5. English, Korean, French, Portuguese, and Spanish.
Okay. I would say 4, but I did study French for 8 years, so like I could survive. I could survive, like, because I can read
German
and write.
too. You could probably survive.
No, German is completely vanished from my brain. Like, so
I tell everyone you can.
I would go 4. I go 4.5 because I have survived in Portuguese and Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
French is just like I would not thrive. I would be able to order food and find the bathroom. Okay, so choose your language. You're the guest, so you get to choose your language. Obviously, English is off the board, but you can either go Korean or Dutch.
I will take Dutch.
Okay, Dutch. Awesome. Dutch is such a fun language to hear. I know nothing. I don't know what I'm hearing.
You know, on a secondary note, like unrelated, like this kind of seems like a Jeopardy thing. And Alex Trebek just passed away.
Oh yes.
So yeah. So rest in peace, Alex. Because this kind of seems like a Jeopardy type thing.
You know what?
Just
I'm gonna phrase in honor. I'm gonna phrase them like Jeopardy questions.
There we go.
Okay. So E, your language.
I'll go French
Français.
because of the video you showed me.
I'm gonna go Portuguese because that's my least favorite. Like I'm the least good at that. And I wrote these questions without like trying to do them in Portuguese, so I don't know
This is gonna be bad.
what it was gonna be. Okay. Okay.
God.
So we'll start with our guests, go to Eric, and then come back to me. Okay. So we're gonna start easy. The first is just a word, and it's cheese. In Korean, that's cheese. And Dana, go ahead.
Gash.
Say it again.
Gash.
Gosh.
Kaas. Gash.
I've seen that.
Oh, that's how you say it. I've seen it on
I've seen that too. I've seen that on cheeses.
Okay.
Dutch masters.
You're
It's fromage.
fromage. And in Portuguese is queijo. Okay. The next one is wine. In Korean, podoju. Wine in Dutch.
Wijn.
Oh, that's easy. That's an easy one.
Vin.
Vin. And vinho is Portuguese. Is that correct? You gotta like keep me. I sometimes Spanish and Portuguese.
Can we get a fact checker here, please?
Bobby.
Fake news. Oh shit! I was supposed to do it in Alex Trebek. Yeah. Okay, so the first one was what is cheese? What is wine? And this is gonna be a category. So he does the categories just like categories like Old
So
Testament.
do we have to say like Old Testament for 200, Alex?
No, I guess we have to answer in questions.
Is it
What
Korean
is-
wine?
Answer. Okay.
What is fromage?
Okay. Answer. Where's the bathroom? 화장실 어디예요?
Waar is de wc? Waar is de watercloset?
You say you have to start with
What
what
is?
is.
You can't
What
say that.
is?
Okay, now try to.
What is?
Okay.
Waar is de wc?
Okay.
Wow.
WC. I heard WC.
Yeah, I spelled it out. It was like watercloset.
Okay.
Water closet.
Oh, watercloset.
Interesting.
That's
And so, what's the first word? Vars must mean where?
Waar, yeah.
Var.
So that's what WC stands for, water closet, the whole time?
You really didn't know that?
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Come on,
Should be the urine closet, really.
Yeah.
Though.
Right. Not the bathroom.
Or should you have to say what is in French?
C'est quoi?
What
is?
is?
What is?
Okay.
Donde
No, it's
esta?
no, because you're saying what is and then say the phrase, right?
What is? Où est la toilette?
Okay.
Ooh la la.
What is?
Yeah.
Onde fica o baño? Is it called a baño in
Are you asking the French guy?
Baño?
What is? Onde está o baño?
Just
You wanna
Bañero?
trade
Is it
languages?
bañero?
bañero. I think it's bañero.
Fuck. Okay, whatever. I so okay. I probably lost that one, but okay.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay.
My
Does he-
Portuguese-
does he
No,
pause?
it's gonna get funnier because they're getting harder and harder. Okay.
Great,
So we're still at like medium level. Okay. Dana,
Good stuff.
what's your name? 이름이 뭐예요?
What is?
Yes.
Wat is jouw naam?
Oh, okay, that kind of sounded English a little bit.
What is? C'est quoi ton nom?
C'est quoi ton nom? Okay.
C'est quoi ton nom?
Qual é tu nome? I believe.
Quoi est ton nom?
What is qual é tu nome? I believe. Okay. I'm getting worse and worse. Okay.
we gotta end this quiz fast.
God damn you, Trebek. Okay.
What's the prize?
Okay. Now we're getting
Double Jeopardy.
into harder. Okay, so the next four are hard. Okay. Answer. I love Tarantino movies.
Do I say what is or just answer? How does this work?
Let's just stop with the what is. It's taking forever. Okay.
It's throwing me off my
Okay.
game. What did you just say?
I love Tarantino movies.
Ik hou van Tarantino films. Yeah.
Films. I
That's
heard
it.
films.
Moi, j'aime bien les films de Tarantino.
Okay. Gosta os filmes de Tarantino. Okay.
Sound a little Italian at the end
A
there,
little
huh?
bit. Yeah. Okay.
This is getting progressively worse.
Okay.
Dude, we need to go.
Okay. Next one is we're just gonna keep moving. We're just gonna keep moving. Okay. I forgot all of my Dutch. Eric, you say I forgot all my French, and I say I forgot all my Portuguese.
It's actually not a lie, people.
Yeah, it's not a lie for me.
Ik ben al mijn Nederlands vergeten.
Wow, that sounds cool.
J'ai oublié quasi tout de mon français.
Sounds smooth.
Thank you.
Eu esqueci tudo de português. I don't know. Okay. This is now we're getting to advanced.
Just
Yours-
say it confidently, right?
In Dutch, say, as an American, I apologize for Trump.
Als een Amerikaan wil ik me onschuldigen? No. Oh, I've totally forgot that word. Voor Trump. Beep, voor Trump.
Okay.
Yeah.
40.
Wow.
Verontschuldigen. Got it. Boom.
Okay. I'll allow it. Judges, we have to go to the panel.
Shit.
That sums it up.
As an American, man, I can't even like.
Je sorry.
Sorry.
Je suis un Américain. Je suis désolé de le président Monsieur Trump.
Okay.
That's not how you say it, but
Okay.
that's.
Como
confidently.
americano, eu quero deixar. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I'm like.
Je regrette. I can't. Okay. I fucked that up in Portuguese. Okay, so
I think
Dana won that one.
Dana won that one.
Okay, last one.
Thank you. Hurry up and shoot me.
Thank you for
quickly.
listening to this podcast.
Right.
Bedankt.
Bedankt.
Ja, bedankt.
Donkey
Bedankt.
donk.
Bedankt.
So,
Thank you for listening to the podcast.
Dankjewel voor jullie. I can't even pronounce that correctly. My grammar is all like. Luisteren is to listen. Bedankt voor het luisteren van deze podcast. Oké.
Okay.
How do I say that exactly? I'll say it in a different way, I guess. Merci beaucoup pour votre temps de cette podcast.
Okay.
I don't know.
Obrigado
That sounded
por
It sounds good, but it's not correct.
escuchar este podcast. I don't know how to say it. Okay, we're done with my game. It got really tough at the end. In the beginning, we were all like,
I just broke a sweat.
I'm killing this. I'm
You know-
sweating too.
You know what I think it'd be easier? It's easier to actually have a conversation than think of one thing to say.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Because like you're like, okay, how would you say this? But if you were talking like comfortably in a conversation, it would probably come up and you could figure out a way to explain it.
And there's ways around
Right.
that you can say it without saying the exact phrase.
I apologize to all the French speakers out there because I was
Yeah.
butchering.
Yes.
I apologize to my French teachers.
And for all of our listeners
Ditto.
in Rio de Janeiro, I apologize. I'm better than that. I will start studying again.
Yeah.
Het spijt me zeer.
Monsieur.
Het spijt me zeer.
Monsieur is messieurs.
Not in Dutch.
Is that, okay. All
Just
right.
saying I'm very, very sorry.
So
Sorry.
This is the thing. Like we all grew up like kind of around a lot of different cultures, right? And then now we find ourselves here, where even as much as we thought we might have been Korean, there have been some shocking things here, right?
Very shocking things.
One of the things that I know was shocking for myself and my brother were the toilets here, right?
Okay. Definitely the toilets. And we talked about this on our
We
last
talked about
podcast,
this a little bit now. So like the first time you saw a Korean toilet,
And this is a real guy topic, so it's good to have a girl's
right,
perspective.
right. What did you, when you first were like, yo, I gotta go, and then you saw that toilet, what was your first reaction?
Please don't let me pee on my shoe.
Okay, so first of all, there's a lot of our listeners. Maybe they've never seen a Korean toilet. So can you explain to our listeners in Wichita what is, like, describe it to someone who's never seen one? What is it? What is it? What
There's
is it?
porcelain in a hole,
In a hole.
and your footsies spread across, and there's a wall and, of course, partitions, and you don't want to touch anything because it's a toilet, so you're just trying to balance using your core.
I think for me, the big thing is no seat. You can't sit down on a Korean toilet. You squat, and there's nothing supporting your butt,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And the
Also
fact that
that.
it's so low to the ground. Like, if you have bad knees, screw you. You're never taking a shit in Korea.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's just bad. I mean, like there's like issues with splashback. I mean, there's all kinds of things. Like it's
There's
like
smell
smell,
issues.
and then you don't want to touch. Like
Do
especially
you have
like
to bring
if
your
you
own toilet paper? Probably.
Okay.
You know.
And what do you do with that toilet paper when you're done? I thought that was like pretty interesting to have the garbage can full of
the sewer system,
shitty toilet paper right there.
The sewer system is very sensitive here, so you don't want to block the pipes, which means that you're going to throw your trash into a little basket.
When was the first time you used a Korean toilet in your life? Have you ever used a Korean toilet?
I've had to.
I know you're up in Yoido in the Regencia.
I've had to, yeah.
You have?
And
Okay.
and I've definitely peed
Awesome.
on my shoe before.
And when was that?
I mean, it was a traumatic
Not
experience.
these shoes that you're touching my leg with.
No, that was some time ago. I will try to avoid those if I can, but sometimes
you can't.
Just depending on the building you're in or the area you're in.
They have
Avoiding
done a good
it.
job of renovating the toilets, but every now and again,
You get
I got caught in Dongdaemun not too long ago, old building, which doing some shopping, and that was all that was there. And I tell you, when that tteokbokki hits, it hits hard. It's wallops.
You know, like, okay, so the experience is like traumatizing in itself. And then when you get out and you wash your hands and you got to jack off the soap.
Oh, the soap!
It's like
soap on a stick.
Yep.
Where to get some, you have to physically.
Oh, yes.
So it's like you've already had this like experience where you're like, fuck, I just shit all over my shoe or
humiliating.
whatever. You know, I don't know if I got
humiliating.
everything. It's uncomfortable. My knees hurt now. And then you go out and you're like,
It's
you want to
humbling.
add humiliation to the fact that I just shit on my shoe. Now I got to jack off a piece of soap. It's like,
I'm curious at the inventor because obviously someone thought that was a great idea and it spread throughout all Korea. Why do you think they thought that was easier than having just to push
It's an
liquid?
anti-theft soap.
were people not stealing?
It
Were
might
they
last longer.
You think?
stealing soap?
You think it's better than a soap dispenser, like the soap dispenser?
Personally, I mean, if you're running it from a business standpoint versus like just something you're using at home.
But the thing is always wet, so that means someone else's wet bacteria is on the outside of that thing. So you almost got to clean the soap before you clean your hands.
But the soap is clean in
Soap.
itself.
Is soap clean?
It's soap.
So we've had. So this is like I need a scientist. I think that there's still bacteria floating around in the suds on the soap.
But we are using soap to fight the almighty coronavirus. So it's got to be.
Or bleach. Only if you inject it though.
Yeah.
I just think the Korean bathrooms, like when I first got here, it was. I mean, I remember when we were young, like I was like, man, I do not want to go to the bathroom anywhere because I was like,
And he has irritable bowel or something.
Man, I gotta take a shit
He
all the
shits
time.
like 5 times a day.
so like every time I was like, man, I'm hungry, I gotta eat, but then I'm gonna have to shit immediately. And then like where we were out in the countryside, so
Did
like
you have the pleasure of an outhouse?
We did in the countryside. We did.
it wasn't. It was like
It was
like
just a
big
pit.
It was like a big pit.
It was a shit pit.
like me and my brother had to hold each other. Like,
It reminds me of Slumdog Millionaire. Remember in the beginning when he falls into
Yeah.
the shit house?
Yeah.
If you would have let go of my grip, I would have
Right.
fell backwards into a huge
Right.
chasm. Is it chasm or chasm? A chasm of shit.
I believe it's French.
Let's not do it. We're done with languages. We thought we were smart. But yeah, that was the first.
At least you had each other.
But the smell hits you.
man.
There's nothing like that smell.
And then when you're in the Korean toilet, like, is it the same? Like when you're sitting down, like that smell just smacking you in the face, it just makes you want to vomit.
I try not to breathe. That's my tip. Just try not to breathe.
Oh, the Korean toilet system is.
And I don't know. Girls, I just feel like they're gonna be cleaner.
Right.
I remember one of my earliest public toilet. We were at the beach. We were at the beach down in Chalodo. This is like late 80s or something.
Where the
like
nuclear reactors were?
that. Nuclear. Another whole thing. Warm water at the beach is weird. And we go to this little outhouse thing. And so
Oh, man,
it's Korean toilets, right? But it was one of those ones where it didn't have plumbing. So it was just the basin, but you had to take the bucket, fill it up, and
Right.
and whoever was
Old
there
school.
before me, disgusting bastard, just left a pile there.
Right.
And then the next person left a pile there, and just nobody wanted to get the bucket and wash it down the hole. And so, of course, I'm not going to be the guy that gets the splashback of this big shit pile, but I got to go. So I end up just kind of hovering and just adding to this pile. And that was the 80s. That pile is probably like, people are getting on ladders to shit on top of that pile. So
It's like a good old fashioned like festival.
So
Yeah.
obviously the toilets were like something that sticks out in our minds. But like for you, like when did you come to Korea? Like did you come a lot when you were young?
I mean,
or-
yeah, when I was younger, I remember like a couple summers we would come over and but it's different when you're a kid and
Right.
you're wearing like a dress, which is like easier than when you're wearing
Oh, jeans. Forget about
jeans
it.
and high heel boots. Like, come on, that's not easy.
It's got to be tough and
You're
high
really
heels,
using your
right?
core for that.
And you're probably the drop off point
And you have
is
purse
higher
hanging
up,
on
so you're
you.
getting splashback.
So what else other than the toilets was shocking when you came as an adult?
Right.
What was shocking? What's the larva called? The larvae?
Bundegi.
Bundegi.
It's funny. It's funny because we've all lived here for so long that like now when my friends ask me, when I feel like my first year in Korea was like shock. Around every corner there was shock. Right. And now I've just come so accustomed to it. And then at the same time too, a lot of things have changed. Like there's less Korean toilets, so you don't just see them, you just don't think about them.
It always gets me.
But
the smell.
Yeah, but
Always gets me.
But the bundegi definitely was a shock too. Just how I'd heard stories about it from my dad, and then actually smelling it was another like up a level, and then actually eating it and enjoying it.
But I can deal with smell. Like I love durian, but
Yeah,
it smells terrible. But I know that the treat's going to be so good.
Something different.
Shocks my senses.
Good in protein, but not plant based. So.
Although that could be the future.
Yeah.
Bugs?
It already is. Crickets for protein powder. It's already happening.
Cricket powder?
What do you feel
It's
about
a
that
thing.
as a vegan? How do you feel about crickets as protein powder?
Honey and all that kind of stuff. Are
Yeah,
you like,
honey is a
are
big-
you like
it's
strict
divisive.
vegan, or?
I feel like whatever works for you works for you. You know, even though I'm trying to reduce my animal consumption, sometimes you find a really cute pair of boots and then, you get them as a gift. Maybe you get a really nice bag, happens to be made out of cowhide.
Is that
like,
tough? Just being with
Because
that label because
people are so judgy.
other vegans will probably be like, oh, look.
You can't be perfect in anything
Yeah.
that you do, but you can try your best.
So I feel like
I
with
agree with
vegans,
that,
like one of the
100%.
difficult things that I had when I tried was like I felt like I was putting a lot of pressure on the people that were around me because oh, you're vegan, and so that means what are you looking down on me because I'm eating a steak?
Right. People
you
feel
bastard?
like you're kind of elitist.
Yeah, like exactly. So then even like a lot of times your personal decisions are going to affect people around you, but in Korea especially. I think
Yeah.
other countries like it might not be so bad, but here especially like your food choices
Eating is so
affect
social.
everyone around you like immediately.
Right.
And then like I don't want to be the guy that's making everyone else not enjoy their steak. It's like if you want to eat steak, have steak. I mean, it doesn't bother me at all.
Remember when we first got on the vegan thing,
Yeah.
we would just kind of look at them like disapprovingly,
Right.
like,
Guys
okay,
enjoying the
yeah,
steak?
eat the whole thing, all the blood, soak up the blood
there you
too.
go, there you
Here's a straw, fuckface. Drink the blood too. It's probably a baby cow. And but yeah, I think it gets real judgy. And then I think a lot of our people when me and Eric fell off the bandwagon, we did it for a year, and I think
That's incredible, though.
everyone was
Here.
stressed around us. Everybody,
Right.
and then when we fell off the bandwagon, they're like, "See, I knew you'd come back to hot dogs." And I think it relieved. There was more of a
Mystery
sigh of
meat.
relief for the people around
Yeah.
us than
Right. But like I mean, I felt great. Like my body felt great. I was getting good sleep. Like in like my skin was like fine. I felt really good, right? But I got really skinny. I lost a lot of weight, but I felt great.
yeah.
But then I feel like that pressure because the moniker that it have like as being a vegan, it's like you have that like elitist like kind of thing where people look at you and I don't
think you're better than me.
Yeah.
You think you're better than me?
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's just like did you like how'd you deal with that?
I just say I have extreme allergies.
Yeah. The best thing, just lie. Just lie.
Like, oh, I would love to eat that juicy, like raw steak, but my allergies.
And I love Dana too because you're not like one of these pushy vegans that's judgy. You just like do what you fucking want to do. You fucking lowlifes. You chimps digging in the dirt. But you always bring your own stuff, or if you don't want to eat, you're just like, I'm cool. And it's not like a big whole thing.
But the meat eaters are terrible sometimes. They'll sit there with their meat and just like try to
Right.
put it on me, like physically
Like they
touch me
want-
or like in my face. Or
very third grade, like, ooh, is it grossing you out?
yeah, let
Like,
me get
type
some
shit.
juice on your cucumber.
Yeah.
You know, like
I hate when juice gets on cucumber. Nothing pisses me off more than
I'll take that hummus though.
it's a funny thing is eating is so social, especially here, where like how can you create that same kind of environment over a vegan meal?
I think like in America though, I feel like with a lot of the like Beyond Meat and like Impossible Burger,
Yeah.
people are still because the barbecue, that's like 4th of July barbecue, all that kind of stuff. That's huge American tradition. Well, now you just put a different burger on the barbecue and nothing's changed. Really.
No one's gonna
here,
know.
But here, like, say, like, you're going out with, like, do you ever like,
little
foresee
harder.
something where, like, you could go to like a vegan samgyeopsal place and
be
go and
weird.
like have like the same environment there where everyone's just like John like getting together, like pouring soju and just like dipping their vegan samgyeopsal in like doenjang and like whatever. It's like, do you think that could ever happen?
I can see it happening, but the only thing that scares me about all the vegan meats is half that stuff is not gonna digest. Period.
Processed,
You're gonna have a big old rock sitting in your stomach.
Somewhat like, because also, you know, part of being like not like a hyper activist or whatever, but, you know, understanding that this stuff has an effect on, I think one of the main reasons that we started on that path was because we realized the effect it was having on the world, like global warming, you know, because we're like, oh, I'm going to reduce, I'm going to recycle, I'm going to get Tesla. And then realizing that really was a drop in the bucket when it came to, you know, helping.
So you're like, I'll just get a Range Rover instead. I'm good.
Yeah, let's just-
Eric did get a Range Rover instead. No, so
but, you know, like,
I think with the vegan thing, a lot of it is like they could make vegan samgyeopsal that tastes exactly the same,
Yeah.
and maybe feels the same, but it's
the
just
process.
when people, if it's not exactly the same thing that they're used to, because, you know, maybe they like the smoke coming off the grill, they're like, oh, it's just a little different. Like with Tesla, there's cars in the same price point. You know, people that can afford the nicer, like the Benzes. There's Benzes that are the exact same as Tesla, but Tesla's actually faster, outperforms. So, but then they'll finally at the end, just people don't want to change. They like their traditional ideas. So they'll just be like, yeah, it just doesn't feel like a real car. I'm like, but that Tesla's faster than your real car, your quote unquote real car. And you never have to put gas in it.
Well, habits are hard to break too, though, right?
For sure.
But it's probably like, so then was it a little easier for you then? Because like, you didn't have these habits of just eating steak and all this kind of stuff all the time.
I mean,
Or you
I did eat
And then-
meat when I was a kid, but I think once I hit college, I was able to
need-
choose, you know, what I was going to eat and put inside me.
And then from that point on, you kind of just
Pause.
As soon as
We
I
were talking
said
about
that,
butt beads earlier, so
As soon
right.
you were talking about butt beads.
you were,
We
Yeah.
were having a conversation about butt beads.
I have nothing to do with that.
And
first
Dana,
of all, no.
you were very defensive.
No.
And, I mean,
I remember you pleading the fifth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough said. Enough said.
Vegan butt beads?
Vegan butt
Yes.
beads.
I'm confused now.
Coming to a store near you, 2021.
So, on that note, we are.
We're coming up to my. Do you want me to come into my game?
Yeah,
now?
my
don't
game
know
was
where to
kind
go
of
after
a
that.
fail today. I feel like I thought my game was going to be better because honestly, I thought my Portuguese was better. it used to be better. Let's just.
My
I'm
Dutch used to be
disappointed.
better too.
I thought my
Yeah.
French was a lot better too.
We all stink. It's
we
okay.
sucked at the advanced
Suck.
level. We cruised through the easy stuff
Yeah.
though. The up to medium, we were all like.
How do you
pretty
say
much-
hello?
Yeah,
yeah.
we were good
Yeah.
at that.
Wait, is this a test? All right, Dana. So I have like a little quiz that I'm gonna give you, and then come into like a bigger question. Dum, 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 dum. No, so like, okay, so we've always kind of like, when we think about you, you've always kind of been ahead of the trends. Like you've been like when it comes to fashion, like diet, like things that you've been thinking about, like whether it was global warming, veganism, or like just the things that you chose to wear.
We're talking about me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
always been kind of ahead. It's been really cool.
You're,
'cause, like,
you're living in 2030.
like you are from the future living in our present day.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's cool because we're thinking about what you were talking about 10 years ago, and a lot of that stuff has come into, you know, we've incorporated that, like a lot of those things into our life now. So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions where you pick between two, and then the last question will be about how you see the future coming.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna pick two things, then you pick one. Okay, you don't have to give an explanation. All right.
I can't fail at this test?
You can't fail
Okay.
at this test.
Feel better.
This is not a language test.
We will be judging you.
All right. Wine versus bubbly wine. Pick one.
Oh, can I have both?
You cannot. Prosecco or red wine?
Okay, wine.
Okay.
Red wine. Okay.
European cheese or American cheese?
European.
That
Sorry.
was easy. That was easy.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
softball.
Was this even
Lob
a
that in
question?
there.
I
Lob
gotta
that in
give her a
there.
couple easy ones first of all, right? Yoga or Pilates?
Ooh.
Broga.
Broga.
What's broga?
What is that?
It's for
Is
guys.
that a thing?
It's
Oh.
it's broga.
You do broga, like, even though you're.
No, for you guys.
Oh, for us. Well, for you.
Just
You're,
yoga.
you're one of the guys.
You
Boxing?
yoga or Pilates. Okay.
Catching a taxi in Seoul or catching a taxi in New York?
What do I prefer?
Which one did you prefer?
I mean, yeah, I do miss those medallion cabs, and here you can just go to your app and go taxi, please.
So taxi driver in Seoul or taxi driver in New York?
They're both pretty amazing.
Okay.
Oh, that's a positive skew on it.
Korean summer or New York summer?
Ooh, hot everywhere.
All right.
I'll take a Korean summer though. Indoors. I'll
Really?
take a Korean summer indoors with my AC and dehumidifier on.
I'm with that one. All right. So now the last question we have here, because we've been kind of like looking at what you did and what you were talking about 10 years ago. That's kind of like what is happening now. What do you see in Korea that will be the same in 10 years? So looking towards 2030. Mm-hmm. What will be the same? What will be better? And what will be worse?
What are we at? 5G over here? Can we get any better at this internet thing?
We'll find a way.
Okay.
Robots. I think human rights are going to get a lot better over here.
In
Equality for women.
Okay, so equality for women. Okay.
But I mean, there are so many countries all over the place that are still, hanging back on that.
I thought it was interesting that Korea had such a low rating. Like a couple years ago, and this is back when Park Geun-hye, like first women president. So I was like,
go to
wow.
jail?
I was like, no, but before that.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, we're advanced for women's rights. And then
She
when you
ruined
look
it.
at society, when they broke down society and when these groups, they were saying our actual women's rights were on par with like Saudi Arabia. I was like, that's impossible. But then when you look at like the actual legal, the laws, like for instance, single mothers and all that kind of stuff, I was like really surprised about that. Abortion rights, stuff like that.
I really hope that we are that far with gay rights too, that there will be equality in that. Marijuana, I mean, it's already happening for medical use. I see that happening too.
CBD. Yeah, I think that's legal now.
Yeah, I saw some hemp at the Yakuk the other day.
Really?
Not sure if it had any like actual properties, but it said hemp, so that's a start.
So you just ate the whole bottle and just to see?
Yeah. Just rubbed it all over.
I'm not feeling it yet. Okay.
Yeah, so human rights, I think we're going to keep going with technology. What to say? I feel like we're so globalized that people are traveling all over the place, grabbing new ideas from other places, sharing it. I think we can only go forward. Yeah, there you go.
So what will get worse?
What will get worse? Hopefully not pollution.
I think that's like probably the one that I
think we
worry
need
about
to
the
clean
most.
that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what do you think will stay the same? What do you think is just going to be, you're going to come back in 10 years and be like, oh, okay, that's the same.
Well, I hope culture stays the same, like all the good parts. I hope we see more hanboks around and we're not getting too westernized.
Yeah.
I hope to see
I feel like there is kind of like revisiting some of the Korean cultural things, because I feel like now that the city and everything has become so modern that they've kind of gone away from that. And then now people kind of going back. Like we were looking at this like app about like houses in the countryside, and it seems like some people are going that way, learning how to make Korean food again. These kind of hagwons are popping up. But
yeah, I hope that there's the tradition stays the same, but that it develops for everybody. Not that you're young. Like if you're young and you go to a company that you're just someone's,
bitch.
errand boy.
Just say bitch. Just say bitch, Dana.
I can't do it.
Put in your time, bitch.
No, one of the things like I think that's a very compelling thing. Like, where's Korea going? And you are canary in the coal mine, so you're our first indicator of where the trends are
Canaries
going. and stuff
apparently
like that.
die down there.
Yeah.
Don't
Quack.
kill Dana. Don't kill Dana in the
Well,
coal
Dana's
mine.
flying the coop.
Let
So
her live.
I would have said like diversity. So diversity has been definitely increasing in Korea, but now one of us is leaving to go to Canada. But I think diversity is increasing, and a lot of it's like Koreans are having less babies. So there's been a lot of policies.
We're having lots of babies? I thought we were going down
we're
in
not having.
babies.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. We're not having lots. What did I say? Did I say the opposite?
No, I'm sure you said what you needed to say.
Okay, so we're not having a lot of babies. Old people are dying, so our population is going down. So the projections, we're going to need
Immigration's gonna grow,
immigration.
yeah.
So I think hopefully diversity grows, but it grows in a good way where people, are not looking down on the immigrants, but we're kind of like, wow, they do things different. Maybe we can learn from them.
Right.
We can help each other and all that kind of stuff. That's where
I think Korea is like a pretty homogeneous society. And then, there were people that came before us that were maybe like the first wave of half like people like us that weren't full Korean. Then now it's becoming more common and hopefully more accepting.
It's becoming popular now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's cool, man.
Yeah.
I see all these cute little halfy kids on TV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Korea like goes that way too. I think diversity is obviously from where we come from. I mean, like, diversity is a great thing. I hope that Korea accepts that more, where people don't look at you like. I think when my dad was here in the 70s, he was saying that people basically looked at him like he was like a talking dog. Like, people were like, how can this big white guy speak? Like, like how can people look like, how can this big white dude speak our language?
Right.
Where did you learn the language?
Yeah.
And it was just like, they come out and like touch and be like, well, like,
Let me touch your hair. Yeah.
But now, like, there's lots of foreigners that speak Korean, but still some of that, like, ignorance, prejudice, whatever you want to call it, like, it's still there. But like, hopefully little by little it'll go away. And Korea's definitely making a lot of strides. I think Korea will definitely try to improve in all these ways. Korea's always trying to improve whatever it may be.
And then they develop super quick, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Things change here. Like some of those cultural things seems like they change slow. But then if culture catches up to the rate of technology, like who knows what it'll be like in 10 years.
There's always a little bit of a lag.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's Korea changing and progressing into the future. Where's Dana going? You were the first person I think that I ever met that was like working on herself, like going to yoga retreats and like, working on health in positive ways and working on all this kind of stuff. Where's Dana? What's your current project, or what are you doing?
I'm gonna keep going with the health.
With the health.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raw veganism for the win.
All right.
Because I know for a long time you were having like issues with your back and like you had like quite a few surgeries. And
some nerve entrapments and
so like after going through all that, do you think the diet has helped with recovery and with your general like quality of life?
I think had I not been eating so many alkaline foods, I would have been in more pain, and my recovery rate after 6 separate surgeries was much faster, and I think I kicked all of like the painkillers too, and there's only so many pills you can keep swallowing until you just feel so nauseous and not right.
But how do you feel now? I mean, you look great.
Well, thank you. I feel so much better.
Yeah.
So much better.
Because I know for a long time it was tough. Like you were like in and out of hospitals and like traveling to see like specialists all over the world.
Yeah.
Like trying to figure out what was going on. And it looks like
getting steroid injections.
I got bad back too. So So what's this whole thing about the alkaline thing real quick? Like, because I heard that was like a huge thing for cancer treatment too. Is like, you want to keep your body alkaline or you want to keep your body acidic or
No,
what?
You do not want to keep it acidic.
Okay. That's how dumb I am. So.
No, that's okay. That's
you looked
okay.
at me like, is that a serious question?
So certain foods will keep you in a more alkaline state. And a lot of things that are bad for you will take you the other way. I mean, coffee, it's acidic, but it's also super tasty. And I feel like you can't be 100% alkaline all the time. You just need to have the majority of your diet be pretty good. And then you can still indulge in your alcohol, your coffees,
So that's another dimension. So most people know if there's carbs in their food, or they know if there's fat in their food, there's sugar in their food. I don't have no idea. I know lemons are probably acidic, but coffee's probably acidic. But what foods do you eat to keep your body alkaline?
Leafy greens.
Okay.
I mean,
salad.
Yeah, fruits, vegetables, like overall.
What does being alkaline mean?
Dana, can I see you outside for a second?
This is.
Sorry. I'm
gonna have to come back for another podcast.
I didn't want to ask, but I don't know.
I just heard about it like briefly for cancer, something cancer can't survive in like a, I guess, acidic environment or something like that. So sugar's bad, but fruits have sugar.
Right, but I mean, you can overdo it on like the unnatural sugars too.
Okay, so processed sugars. So leafy greens, anything else that's going to keep my body alkaline because I don't want disease.
Well, I'm I will steer you towards my world where it's like whole grains
Let me get in
and
there.
vegetables and fruits.
Okay.
And just stay away.
What about like meat and alcohol? Are these acidic things, or are these things like what effect do they have on that?
I would say if you're gonna eat meat, please try and get something that's like try and get an animal that has been living a good life, that hasn't been subjected to like
hasn't been
the
like
life
beating
of
his kids and
right, yeah,
like a good animal.
and that like a lot of them have antibiotics and hormones, growth hormones, so that they produce, right? So you're changing like the structure of this like animal into something that I feel like if you look at a large population of America, they're not exactly in shape. And if you look at the food that we're consuming, I think that's why. Because we have the added like hormones, we have the added antibiotics. Why are antibiotics not working that well anymore? Because we have a lot of resistance from the foods we're taking in. So if you are going to eat meat, try and have like grass fed or get it from a butcher where like the farm it's coming from, because all these big corporations, they will throw dead diseased animals in the mix because it's profit.
Right. I mean, we watched a lot of documentaries on this kind of stuff, and like I think a lot of people don't look at what's going into the food they're eating, like because they look at the finished product and like that's a tasty burger, but
right,
where the burger came
at the
from, where
supermarket.
the how the tomato was produced and whatever. I mean, it could be a vegetable too. It doesn't have to necessarily be meat. Like that vegetable could be injected with similar hormones and
pesticides, all over the place,
and blah blah blah.
So it's not like a meat specific thing. It's just the industry.
Yeah, with all foods, and even the water that like the plants need, the fruits need, and the animals need. That's all contaminated. That can be contaminated too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think like people like some of the stuff that like I was reading, it's basically like if you look at these type of what they're putting into the food, and then you look at the diseases that are coming out in like these populations that are eating a high level of this food,
right?
It's not surprising that these things are manifest themselves in humans as it could be like mad cow disease manifested as cancer in a human or something like that. A cow gets like this, but I don't know. I think that's like next level shit that people need to like. If you're really looking at long term health, people think about this stuff as genetic. Like, well, my dad had cancer, so I'll probably get it. Well, if you eat what your dad ate, you're probably
ding ding ding.
I was talking to Dana earlier, and the weird thing is we were saying when we were growing up, it was like great grandma was getting whatever she got, like a stroke or all these kind of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Right now, it seems like younger kids, like one of my high school friends, just had testicular cancer. Right. And Jason and survivor. Awesome. But a guy we used to work out with, just rocked up dude, had cancer, ended up passing away.
Right.
And you just wonder, like, it's got to be something in the diet, because our diet's different than our grandparents. They may have smoked and had different risks, but our environment plus our diet, there's different risks that we're exposed to. And like, it's hard to see how much of it is environment, how much of it is diet,
Yeah, because like cancer and Alzheimer's, like that used to be like an old person thing. Like Alzheimer's, I thought it was old timers.
Yeah,
like,
I thought it was old timers.
Like it's like old people get this stuff, not young people. But then if people in their 30s and 40s are getting these diseases that our great grandparents and grandparents got, it's
the
like
guy we hooked with, Shijuni had cancer.
Yeah,
I mean, and he was in his like late 20s, early 30s, and he's a basketball player, super healthy. But you wonder, maybe he wasn't cutting off the burnt parts of the kogi when he was eating Korean barbecue or something.
It's like obviously like you want to be as healthy as possible, and I think like probably like diet. If you can control what you're eating, you're gonna give yourself a fighting chance. I mean, cancer can strike, but if you limit the percentage of like getting the stuff by taking care of what you eat, the environments you're in. Out here, unfortunately, we have like misemanji, we have all this kind of stuff that's going on, and it's all not healthy.
And they're saying like a lot of this stuff, even if you are unhealthy, a lot of this stuff is totally reversible. Like, where there's been studies where people reverse heart disease by just changing your diet.
Well, I'm sure even when you're going through like all the health stuff, there are probably people that were like, look, like there's nothing we can do.
One of my teachers at culinary school, she actually had like a very advanced stage of breast cancer. And it was then that she ditched all the traditional treatments and she went raw. Survivor. She healed herself.
I have 2 kids, so don't talk to me about raw. Okay, but no,
it's easier than you think.
No, but I didn't say cancer, but that's another one. My wife was just telling me about people that basically did water fasting to starve the cancer cells, and the healthy cells could last longer than the cancer cells. So it's basically chemo without doing all the harmful chemo stuff. So, and they had good results.
So raw for the win.
Just raw for the win. Raw for the win.
Go raw, dog.
Well, all right. Well, Dana, we're coming up. God, it flew by. Just being our first breakthrough woman guest. You know, thank you so much. We're honored to have you on the podcast.
Thanks for having
you've
me,
been
guys.
really influential, like kind of subconsciously influential. Like at first we thought you were crazy, and then we start doing meal prep and packing our stuff. Like, who's this crazy bitch not eating meat? And then we're just like, okay, the research is there. Yeah. So yes, definitely, you've been a blessing in our lives, and moving forward, you know, to doing all.
Everyone
your
come to
projects.
Canada.
Yes,
Clean
yes.
air,
I will
clean
visit. I
air.
will visit you for sure. I may even immigrate to be your neighbor.
Okay, Gravenhurst.
So, thanks again.
Yeah,
thanks
a
so
lot,
much
Dana.
for coming on. We had a great
Love
time.
you guys. I'm gonna miss you.
Kojima.
Kojima.
All right, Dana. Well, we'll have to. Yeah, like I said, thank you for having you on, and I guess we'll see you in Canada.
That's right.
Yeah. Until next time, PhaseTwo podcast.
And
And one more
out.
thing.
And-